Is this like your man cave where you rehearse and practice,
Yes,
or?
yes. It's funny because I started demoing some stuff for the new Cabo stuff that we're doing. So like I said, I just logged on and did the thing, and I was just demoing some stuff to see if just waiting, just and got into my zone and wasn't coming checking back and forth, and it's just weird. Yeah, but this is the man cave.
Nice. Yeah, I have to say, I'm digging the new Cabo songs, and everyone's so excited that you guys are releasing new music. So that must feel good for you all.
Absolutely, we're super excited about the new music and the new energy we have behind us. Um, we have a new song coming out in next month called "Lead On," and we're really excited about that one as well. And then we have a couple other songs we're going to release. I think the idea is to package it all together, all the songs we've released already, and then after Lead On, we have a cover of "Come Undone" from Duran Duran that we're going to release,
Oh, very cool.
and then three other songs, I think. Two of those were songs that didn't make Bright Nights, Dark Days, our first record, and then an alternate version of Cynical from Bridges. And it's more of a when that song was written, it had more of a Police type feel.
Ah,
Um,
yeah.
and so we're going to release that version versus the version that's on Bridges. And we're going to call it, right now, the title is Under Bridges, Bright Nights, and Thieves.
Kind of
So,
linking all the albums together.
yeah, because we got two songs from the first record, and so it's just kind of cool to kind of package it all up. And the band's been writing. We had a couple of writing sessions before the pandemic, and we wrote 4 songs, and 3 of those 4 we were really excited about. Casey has a song that he sent over a while back that's really cool. Chris is always writing stuff. So the plan is to hopefully springtime jump into the studio and do I'm not going to say we're going to have enough for a full record. It might be a 5-song EP or an 8-song EP. The pandemic's pretty much stopped everyone's lives, and so we haven't gotten together in a while. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. What was it like revisiting the unreleased songs that you guys had? Was it like, oh, I forgot we had these songs, or did you know they were all there already?
It's weird because what we've done in the past, and we'll do a bunch of songs for a record, and we never go back and listen to those songs again. And I went back and was like, some of these songs are really, really good, and we have these mixes. We can just have them remixed and mastered, and they might be legit. And so in talks with the guys, we picked a couple of the songs that we actually finished that just didn't make the record, and we remixed them. Now we have hundreds of demos, and so now the fun thing is going through some of those old demos that we did and like going, oh, that's a cool part, let's grab that part, maybe we can write around that and stuff. So it's pretty cool to know that you have a bank. Since we're not together, we can't get together, just to grab ideas and mess around with it, demo it out, and say, hey guys, what about this came from this song, and see if anybody likes it. It's a good way to be creative when you're limited to not having the guys in your band around, because they're there, their parts are
Yeah.
there. Pretty cool.
Yeah, the good thing with technology, you guys can, work from home and then just send things to each other, and
Yes,
it's a good thing
those
about
of us that are
technology.
technically sound.
Exactly.
I won't say any names, but there's somebody who
Okay.
is not tech savvy.
But no, I was listening to Wolves and Muscle Memory, and those songs are killer, I have to say.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Muscle
yeah,
Memory, like I was hooked from the, first guitar notes. I really like the tone on there, and
yeah.
I don't know, it has
That's
like a refreshing yet nostalgic feel to it. I don't know how to describe it, but
Thanks. Yeah, it's really cool to be in a band with talented guys like Chris, Casey, and Andy. Chris is so experimental with his sound and the music, and what he comes up with gives me a lot of room to do like that reggae type vibe that I came up with on that song. Casey's melodies are always golden, and to actually have a drummer that is who drums out of the box. So like Andy's playing is a little different than what you would expect. So it just all comes together and it makes a really cool vibe. And that's what I love about Cavo is we're different. We try to do something different every record. We try not to write the same record, and that's a good thing and a bad thing. Sometimes people don't like that, but we're always trying to grow and be creative. And we'll have elements of old stuff in our group, but a lot of new stuff are what we're into. And that's what makes that Cavo sound, and you'll never know what you're going to get, because this next song that's coming up, it's kind of a burner. It's kind of a heavier. It's the most aggressive of the songs we've released so far, and it's just a drive-in bass line that I wrote and was really excited about, and the guys wrote around it. And if you listen to what Chris does over it, it's freaking amazing. If you listen to what Casey's singing or what Casey's doing over the music, it's just like it's just cool. It's like just cool stuff. I don't know. I'm biased though, so.
Well, of course, you have to be. No, but I mean, if you hate the music you make, that would really suck. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when is that next song coming out? In a couple of weeks?
I think the 13th or the 20th of November. Talking to Denny at the label group, I think he wanted it to come out the weekend of the election, but I don't think that's enough time to do the prep we need for it. So it's either the 13th or the 20th, I think.
Okay.
But
within the next 3-4 weeks.
Yeah. And it's a title called Lead
ears.
On. It's a title called Lead On. It's like I said, it's pretty aggressive, and listen to it and take it for what you think it means. Casey is so genius with his lyrics. He writes these lyrics and allows you the space to have it affect you the way you want it to affect you.
So you can have your own personal interpretation of the lyrics.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Nice. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes, I think it was Freddie Mercury who said he would never tell what Bohemian Rhapsody was about, and he feels like if he would explain the lyrics, it would ruin someone's own meaning or interpretation of the song. So
yes, that is.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, that's what Casey does.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I know, so many people are dying to see live music again. Once coronavirus, goes away, if you could go on tour with any bands, who would you add to your bill?
I mean, there's so many bands. Shoot, let's see. I just name them off. I'd love to tour again because we've done these tours. It would be people that we've toured with. Shinedown, we love touring with those guys. Daughtry, we love touring with those guys. I mean, even Lifehouse, Favorite Dead Man, Evanescence, Hailstorm, Veer Union. I mean, there's so many bands. Rev Theory, Chevelle, we toured with. I mean, we actually had a wonderful touring experience. There wasn't anything overly bad that has ever happened to us. Like you hear bands that have these war stories. We really didn't. I mean, the toughest tour we had was Crewfest 2. We were still in a van, and some of those jumps were crazy. And we were of course on the side stage, so we were on the Monster Energy stage. So we didn't really have a backstage area. We had a tent. And that tent wasn't air conditioning. And when you got to, Mexico or New Mexico, Texas, Nevada, it got hot. But like that was it. Like we had wonderful tour mates. They treated us like family. So, I mean, Evan, everybody, we actually had a wonderful experience. So anybody that we've ever toured with, I'd love to jump on a tour with them again.
Well, someone needs to make that happen as soon as, live music can,
I agree.
continue.
Touring is expensive.
That's what I hear, yeah. The logistics of, making it happen is the tough part.
Yeah, I think our goal is going to be to try to do festivals next year and weekend jumps. And if something big happens or something comes our way that we just can't pass up, then we'll definitely consider it. But us doing a tour right now, with the with the way things are and the demand of things. I don't know that that's something that we would be doing right off. I think the weekend jumps, one-offs, and festivals is more likely what you'll see from us in 2021. So
I mean, that's still cool, and I think festivals seem to be the route a lot of bands are taking these days, just to avoid, like you said, the cost of touring.
yeah, yeah. Because I mean, you can lose money for the entire week, and then you try to make your money up on a festival. Why would you just go play the festival? you know?
Exactly. No, like in Boston, we have this festival called Boston Calling.
Hmm.
And it used to just be, small bands, doing the festival, but now they're bringing in huge bands like Red Hot Chili Peppers and
That's awesome.
some other ones. I'm like, wow, I wouldn't expect, these bands to be playing a festival like this, but I think, like you said, I think maybe that's why.
It's
It's a lot
easier.
easier, yeah.
Yeah, it's cost effective. Um, and you lessen the risk of losing money touring.
Yeah. That's awesome. And, if you're down for this, I just want to ask you a couple questions to talk rock music with you.
Sure.
Do you remember the first rock concert you ever attended, or one that really stands out to you?
First rock concert. Gosh, I would have to say it was Trickster with Warrant when I was a little kid, and PJ Farley. Trickster was a band that I was I was into Mother's Milk Chili Peppers back then. As a kid, you listen
Oh,
to
yeah.
It's weird. I grew up. My sister loved Def Leppard and Kiss and things like that, so I got into that stuff at a young age. But um, I saw PJ and the drummer come out and do a bass solo, and it was the funkiest thing ever that I'd seen. I'd watched or listened to Chili Peppers, but I've never seen that. And to watch the first experience of that was that, and I was like, oh wow, that's cool. And that was hooked. And I followed PJ Farley ever since. He was in Raw for a while. I think he's back in Raw. But he's one of my favorite bass players because as a kid he was doing something that I'd never seen, in the first experience of seeing someone do some slapping on a bass was just cool, you know.
Oh, yeah, slapping is really cool. I don't think I would ever be able to master something like that, but just to watch them do it, I'm like, wow.
It's just practice. It's just the thing. You just got to practice it. Like I honestly, that's watching that, being into the Chili Peppers because of Flea. I always listen to like Stanley Clark and Jocko and stuff like that. But um, and then Victor Wooten came into play. I listened to. I don't know if you remember the band White Trash that came out. They had that song Apple Pie back in the day.
Oh, yeah, I know that song, yeah.
Yeah, so I watched that band. They came in town a couple of times. I would always go see their shows. That bass player was freaking crazy, amazing. Um, so I just got into slapping. A buddy of mine, Roland, uh, got me into taught me how to slap actually. Because when I first started playing bass, I used to pick, and I was actually a guitar player first, and I was just playing bass to hold the place until we found a bass player, and I was going to jump back on guitar. And then he was like, dude, you got to check out some of these bass players, man. And these guys are, I mean, you know, what you like hearing, this is all it is. And he showed me, and I was like, oh, so I sat around and practiced that for, you know, a month or two. And next, I could do it. And then we started incorporating it in my first band, Plain Jane, back in the day. So,
Oh, very cool. Yeah, speaking of Flea, like I saw him a couple years ago and he still has crazy energy at his age. I'm like, where does he get this from?
you're young at heart. You're only as old as you feel.
No, that's cool. What about, well, you kind of touched upon, music that you were into. I was going to ask, the first rock album you bought.
My first rock album was Pyromania from Def Leppard
Yeah.
as a kid, because my sister listened to it and she wouldn't let me listen to her. So I saved up my money and got it. And then that turned into I went out and bought High and Dry. And then, 11 years old listening to Def Leppard. And I remember when Hysteria came out. And I actually, that was the first CD I ever bought, was Hysteria. But then I got into bands like Fishbone and Living Color. And Fishbone, one of the things I like about Fishbone is they're one band that does a little bit of everything, and that's what I try to bring into the Cavo thing. Like, I'll try to add a little funk with some slap here and there, or a walking line for some blues, or I just try to incorporate whatever I can, because I like the fact that we all come from different genres of music, and we come together to create Cabo, and it's cool because you can tell the differences, uh, in the song. Oh, okay, this song's more like this, or okay, that song's more like that. And it's a little, but it's always Cabo, but we bring our a piece of us to the song, and I really like that about us, and I get that cue from Fishbone. Long story short.
Yeah. You put your own stamp on your sound, your
Yes.
own music. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, are you familiar with Fishbone?
I've heard of them, but I wouldn't be able to like name off their songs. What would
They
you
were
recommend to a new fan or a new
um
listener of them?
I would tell you, if you're going to listen to Fishbone, um, the reality of my surrounding is there. I mean, Truth and Soul is a good record too, but reality of my surroundings, then it would be Give a Monkey a Brain, He'll Swear He's the Center of the Universe is my second favorite record of theirs. And those two will give you everything you need. They are a R&B, ska, punk, metal band. It's the best way to
Wow,
explain it.
a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I mean, and they're just fantastic.
Yeah, I know you guys said you don't like to be put in a box. Um, I think, is that what muscle memory is about? Kind of escaping being put into a box, or
Yeah. It's weird because it's kind of, to me, it kind of has two meanings. I mean, Casey's main, I guess, objective of the lyrics was, you know, don't be put in a box to where you just function on muscle memory. Like, you just go through the motions. Always try to do what have you, but how you look at that is your own interpretation. So, my thing, when I was asked how I described the song, I simply said, we're at a point in our life where there's no longer any communication between individuals on differences of opinions. There's no longer a connection towards people that we used to have. And we go through day to day on cruise control, and it becomes muscle memory. You wake up, you go to work, you don't, you got to watch what you say all the time,
mm,
and and that connection that we had is gone. So it's hard not to get caught in that box that we're in, for fear of, uh, I'm not going to say political correctness, but for fear of what happens in the outcome, because no one wants to have the conversation. No one wants to go, did you mean this? Is this what you meant by saying that? It's just, you said this and you're a horrible person. And it's hard to make that connection and to actually make it. People can be educated, and the prejudices that some people have are just based out of ignorance. They don't know any better. So sometimes you can educate someone out of that, um, you know, and we find ourselves in this spot that we're being forced into this box, and to be able to think outside that box is a wonderful thing. And I hope that,
absolutely.
yeah.
No, I definitely see where you're coming from with that, 'cause I kind of sense that, from day to day, being around people in Boston, and yeah,
Yeah,
the whole PC thing, and definitely muscle memory, just, going about your routine every day. And
yeah, you just get numb.
hmm
It's easy to become numb and not think about people, us, people everywhere. I mean, there's only one race, it's the human race, and we've stopped thinking about how to better man. We we we've we've grown numb to the greater good, and it's scary. I don't feel bad. I don't feel anything. It's a scary spot to be in. If you really think about it, a lot of people don't feel bad at the things they say and do. They don't feel anything. They just do it and move on.
yeah, and I wonder if, social media has contributed to that, because on social media, people feel like they can say whatever they want, and there's
Yeah.
no consequence for that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. It's you know I've I don't use social media to do any political talks. I believe people have a right to have their own opinions and vote or do whatever they want to do. I judge you on your character, not on your affiliation. Um, but I also won't have a conversation on social media because I don't think you can have that connection. Um, you know, there's a family member of one of the guys in the band that has a different political standing than I have, and we used to have conversations on the bus for hours when we toured, and I enjoyed it and he enjoyed it. We educated each other. We tried to see where each other were coming from, and that connection is gone nowadays.
Yeah,
Now now it's just good and evil, and not
exactly.
everybody is evil, not everybody is good. Let's figure it out. Let's sit down and have a discussion.
Yeah, like learn how to debate again, agree to disagree, but hear each
Yeah,
other out. And
right. Yeah, it's
exactly.
so the box that they keep pushing us in. I mean, it's a scary thing when people feel that way.
hmm Well, all that aside, it's a good song. I really love it. And
Thanks. Yeah,
you said you added a little reggae feel to that, which I definitely
yeah,
heard.
yeah. That bass line is it's a little bit of the reggae type vibe. Uh, and again, that's that Fishbone influence, of course, a little bit of everything. Um, but again, being in a band with talented musicians like Chris, like Andy and Casey, I have the room to do a little experimentation. And they have the ability that if I come up with something that I really, really like, they'll go, okay, cool. And they'll come up with something that fits. And vice versa. Sometimes Chris will have this idea and it's just amazing. And I'm like, okay, well, what I was playing doesn't work, but I love his part. So I'm just going to scrap mine and do something different. We have that mutual respect and want to do what's best for the song and be as creative as we can.
Very cool. Well,
Yeah.
I'm really excited. Based on all the songs you guys have released the past year, it's getting me really amped up for the new album that you guys will be putting out.
Yeah. 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 It'll be cool. Again, it's a lot of the stuff that's already been released. I think there's only going to be 3 or 4 songs that people haven't heard. Some people have heard the "Come Undone" cover, um, and again, that's the plan. We don't know, first quarter maybe sometime, but we're trying to make it to where that will buy us time to get into the studio and do some recording, and then have something else out. Hopefully, summertime,
Very
or
cool.
start releasing, because people don't. I mean, releasing a record nowadays is tough for a band Cavo size. We're not big as like a Shinedown or something else. So we like to release songs over a longer period of time. So if we have an EP that's coming out in summertime, we might release a couple of songs in the summer, then release the rest of the songs in December or November, to try to get a longer window of spotlight on us. So
Exactly. Yeah. That
yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate your time. Is there anything else you want to mention before we sign off?
Um, the new single, Muscle Memory, is available everywhere where you can stream any music. There will be another Cabo single coming out in November called Lead On, and it'll be at all the same locations. Make sure you ask Allison to get that over to you as soon as she can.
Yes, I
Uh,
will.
and hopefully we'll compile everything together, put it packaged as a record, maybe first quarter of next year. And then with any luck, we'll be back in the studio springtime. So we'll have some more Cabo music out for you in 2021.
I would love that. Well, thanks again, Brian, for your time, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
You too. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.